Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for the prayer. Dear God, thank you for bringing us together safely this evening and for the many blessings we enjoy. We give thanks for sparing our city and children from the senseless tragedies we have become so accustomed to hearing of. As summer begins, please watch over our families and protect our children from harm. Please protect our police and firefighters as they serve and protect each and every one of us. We ask that you heal those who are ill and comfort those who have suffered loss. As we serve the residents of our fine city, please guide us with dedication and commitment for the betterment of all. In your holy name, amen. Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich, Spitali.
Here.
Kalwinski. Torres.
Here.
Higgs.
Here.
Emerson.
Here.
Warple.
Here.
Rakos.
Here.
Venez.
Here, let the record reflect 7 present, 2 absent. Moving on to reading of the minutes.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Spitali.
motion to accept the minutes from May 14th, 2018.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Emerson, to accept the minutes of the May 14th meeting. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to claims.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman.
I'd like to make a motion to pay claims from May 9th, 2018 through May 23rd, 2018. Be claims from 2929 to 3258.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Rakos, second by Councilman Higgs for approval of claims from May 9th through May 23rd, 2018. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich. Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Torres. Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes.
Venez.
Yes.
Torres is a yes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Let the record reflect 7 in favor, 2 absent. Claims pass. Moving on to committee reports.
Madam
Oh,
President.
I'm sorry, public hearings, there are none, followed by communications. Any communications? Any communications? Communications is now closed. Moving on to committee reports.
Madam President.
Yes, Councilman.
Council as a whole will be bringing out 1812 and 1814, and Finance will be bringing out 1813.
Thank you. And as always, I'd like to give everyone an update on the Community and Crime Watch meetings and events. Tuesday, June 5th, the Harrison Park Crime Watch will meet at the VFW on Homan Avenue. That will be at 6:30 p.m. Pulaski Park Neighborhood Association is meeting in about a half an hour, so when we're done here, we can head over there. Coffee with a Cop is coming up on Thursday, May 31st. That will be at John L's from 5 to 7 p.m. This is a great opportunity to come out and meet the police officers who patrol our neighborhoods and to build a relationship with them. Also, on June 4th, the City of Hammond Security Light Program We'll begin taking applications at 9 a.m. in person at City Hall in room 115. Anyone who owns and resides in their Hammond home qualifies for a free dusk to dawn security light. You must provide proof of home ownership along with a valid driver's license or state ID. This is thanks to the generosity of Mayor McDermott, Hammond Community Watch, Hammond Community Development, and the Hammond Urban Enterprise Association. We're able to distribute 60 lights throughout the city. They're divided by 10 per district, so it's on a first-come, first-served basis. I recommend that everyone get there early. If anyone is handicapped or a senior who cannot make it to City Hall, please contact me. I would be more than happy to bring an application to your home for completion. And that is why community is not just about me, it's about us. Committee reports is now closed. Clerk Golick, will you indicate that Councilman Markovich is now here?
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to ordinance, third and final passage.
Ordinance 18-12, sponsored by Councilman Warple. An ordinance to amend Ordinance 9363, Ordinance 4487, Ordinance 4851, Ordinance 6099, Ordinance 7429, Ordinance 7830, Ordinance 8211, Ordinance 8471, and Ordinance 8845, also known as Chapter 35 of the Hammond Municipal Code, as it pertains to the City of Hammond City Court and the orderly transition of cases.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Warple.
I move for final passage and adoption of 1812.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Warple, second by Councilman Spitali for final passage of ordinance 18-12. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. 1812 passes, 8 in favor, 1 absent.
Ordinance 18-13, sponsored by Councilman Warple. A supplemental ordinance authorizing the City of Hammond, Indiana, to refund its taxable economic development revenue bond, Series 2015A, the Gateway projects, and approving other actions in respect thereto.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Warple.
I move for final passage and adoption of 1813.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Warple, second by Councilman Spitali for final passage of 1813. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. 1813 passes, 8 in favor, 1 absent.
Ordinance 18-14, sponsored by Councilwoman Vines. An ordinance to create a new section of Title VII, Chapter 72, to prohibit booting of motor vehicles.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Spitali.
final passage of 1814.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Emerson for final passage of 1814. Any discussion?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman.
City of Hammond, in the interest of the public safety, health, and welfare wishes to restrict the use of booting in the city of Hammond.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Question.
Yes, Councilman Markovich?
Can somebody who owns private property call and have the car still towed or booted while it's on their own private property?
I believe, yes.
Madam
that-
President?
Yes.
Absolutely not, if you pass this ordinance. They cannot have it booted on private property.
Really?
They could have it towed, which is what we want them to do. Instead of booting it and holding it, they're holding the car as ransom, just tow it. It's a set fee, you know? In some cases, we've heard of situations where semis are getting booted on private property. They're parked illegally, I acknowledge, but they're getting booted, and the person comes up and says, that'll be $1,000, and the truck driver says, I don't have 1,000. So they go, well, how much do you have? 800. They're like, okay, we'll take the 800. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no set fee structure. We just, quite frankly, it's Hammond police officers that are put on the spot because they're called to the scene to mediate a dispute between somebody that did it wrong, the person that parked the car, and somebody that also did it wrong by booting their car and holding it hostage. And the police officers have better things to do than to mediate these disputes. So what we're saying to private property owners is, if you have an illegal car on your property, have it towed.
I mean, I'm sorry I missed the caucus, so I might have
It's
missed
okay.
something. So, but the question would be, if we can pass an ordinance that says they can't boot, then we could probably go ahead and pass an ordinance that says you can't charge more than $100 then.
We could, you're right.
You know,
If we
so-
said, if we were we're taking a different position with this ordinance, saying if it's approved by the council and signed by the mayor, booting would be illegal in Hammond. City-wise, that means police officers can't use it either. If we took the approach that you're suggesting, that allowing boots, but you could charge, like we do with towing, you have to charge this amount, we could take that direction. We just decided to go this route instead, Councilman.
Okay, because I know people are questioning how much it costs for storage, how much it costs for towing. I know probably in the past, we were able to set those rates and how much they can charge for storage, and how much,
True.
I don't know if we want to do that or not. I have no problem with this, but like.
No, but this is saying, we wouldn't have to, if you pass this, we wouldn't have to worry about that. If we pass this, it would just be illegal to boot in Hammond for Hammond police officers or private property owners. But it is a problem. Illegal parking is a problem. We just don't feel this should be the solution, Councilman. We think that it should be towed, and then it goes to the set structure that we've already set as a council and mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Councilman.
if we don't pass this ordinance, we're just giving a license to scalpers. When they can come, like the mayor said, come and charge whatever fee they request. So it's just wrong if there's anybody that should be doing any booting on cars. It should be the police department where it's regulated, where the rates will be set by the court and storage and all that good stuff. It's just wrong for a private person or a company or organization just to be able to go in the lot and boot a car or a truck for whatever reason they choose, because I've heard some more story other than what the mayor has said about them just, somebody went into a business, taco right here across the street, because he made an immersion or somewhere else for whatever reason, and then came back to the business and patronized it. He got booted for leaving that business and leaving that car, probably not gone more than 5 minutes, and I understand that the sum was reasonably high. So we're just giving a license for anyone that wants to be a scalper on the unknowing and public. So this is wrong. This ordinance should pass.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I agree with Councilman Torres very much. In fact, the people that are putting these boots on are very quick. If you're in the wrong and you park illegal, you could go in and use a bathroom at White Castle. And Councilman's also right about a restaurant very near City Hall that had an issue like that, and they charged the car more than it would have cost had the car been towed. That's where it starts getting ridiculous. And then, of course, the car owner's upset and he calls the police, and then the police show up, and they got to mediate this dispute, we got better things to do. It would have been a lot easier just to tow the car, and then, you know, the tow company and the landowner could deal with the property owner. So I appreciate it, Mr. Torres.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. 1814 passes, 8 in favor, 1 absent.
President Vines, that concludes the ordinances for final passage.
Thank you, Clerk Golick. Introduction of ordinances, there are none. Resolutions.
Item A, Resolution 18R-24, sponsored by Councilman Kalwinski and Councilman Warple. A resolution appointing Rosemary Wojcilla to the Hammond Port Authority vacancy currently existing.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Warple.
move for passage of 18R24.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Warple, second by Councilman Spitali for final passage of 18R24. Any discussion?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman.
Rosemary's in attendance tonight, and we were all provided a copy of her resume with this ordinance, and we were all provided a copy of the resume.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. 18R24 passes, 8 in favor, 1 absent.
Item B, Resolution 18R-25, sponsored by Councilwoman Vines. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Hammond authorizing the filing of a Cities of Service grant application and designating signatories for the Love Your Block program.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman
move
Rakos.
for passage of 18R25.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Rakos, second by Councilman Spitali for final passage of 18R25. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. 18R25 passes, 8 in favor, 1 absent.
President Vines, that concludes the introduction and reading of the resolutions.
Thank you, Clerk Golick. Moving on to new and unfinished business.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman.
I need to make a motion to set a public hearing for June 11th at 6 p.m. in the council chambers for the resolution that we passed on April 23rd, 18R17. It was the declaratory resolution designated and declared certain area to be an economic revitalization area for the purpose of providing a tax abatement for the Hampton Inn, and I don't know if I forgot to ask for the public hearing afterwards, but we can't do the confirmatory until we have the public hearing, so I make that motion.
Okay. Motion by Councilman Warple. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Spitali to schedule a public hearing on June 11th at 6 p.m. For a public hearing on resolution number 18R17. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, do I need a roll call vote on that?
It wouldn't hurt.
Okay, thank you.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Yes.
Vines.
The public hearing on June 11th at 6 p.m. for resolution number 18R17 passes. 8 in favor, 1 absent. Any other new and unfinished business?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman.
I would just like to thank everyone that came out to the Memorial Day Parade. The Mohawks had, as usual, a good parade and a nice ceremony. For those that didn't come back from various wars. So it was a good turnout. It was a hot day. And everybody that came out, just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Any other new and unfinished business?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Rakos.
I'd like to make the announcement that on June 1st and 2nd, HC3 will be hosting the festival in Hessville. The festival is known as Live in the Ville. It'll be our 4th year hosting this event. Purpose of the event is to bring attention to the downtown Hessville and Hammond area and to showcase our area. There will be a opening ceremony this year at 4 p.m. at right off of Martha and Kennedy. We'll be celebrating our veterans. Thank you.
Thank you. Looking forward to it. It should be a fun couple of days. Any other new and unfinished business?
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Councilman.
I'd like a letter sent to the engineer's office requesting a drain at 800 block of Truman Street on the south side of the street. Water collects around mid-block, and it creates quite a mess there. If
Second.
they can decide it to see what's needed there.
Okay, thank you. Motion by Councilman Torres, second by Councilman Higgs, to send a letter to the engineering department regarding a drain in the 800 block of Truman on the south side of the street. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Any other new and unfinished business?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Higgs.
I'd like a letter sent to the engineering department in reference to the 1100 block of Dracker Street, where there's a large pothole where I'm afraid that possibly the street may sink in. That's the 1100 block of Dracker. I'd also like a letter to the engineering department for the 200 block of Kenwood, where I guess the plow trucks knocked over the curves, and the residents over there are complaining that they need them replaced so no kids gets hurt over there. I so move.
Motion by Councilman Higgs. Is there a second? Is there? Okay. Motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Torres, to have a letter sent to the engineering department regarding a pothole on the 1100 block of Drackert and curbs on the 200 block of Kenwood. And I see we have the engineering department in front of us.
Thank you. Not the whole
Madam Chair Lady,
Yes.
move for suspension of the rules for let the city engineer approach the council.
Motion by Councilman Markovich to suspend the rules to allow our city engineer to speak.
Second.
Second by Councilman Torres. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Councilman Higgs, the 1100 block of Dracker, that's a sewer lateral problem. It's a homeowner issue, then the homeowner would need to repair that.
In the middle of the street?
Yes, sir. The lateral is owned by the homeowner all the way to the main, including the tap in the main. That's by ordinance, sir. We've looked at that numerous times, and it's a homeowner issue, even in the street. Thank you.
Question answered.
I guess my only question to you is that if something happens to one of the residents, then what happens? If someone drives down the street and it sinks in, then what happens then?
So we would have to go out and fill the hole in, but it's still the repair to the sewer, the collapsed sewer, is the responsibility of the homeowner. So the city could go and cite the homeowner and force them to repair it, or city crews could go repair and then put a lien on the house eventually, similar to like your requests for tree removal.
Yeah, I probably suggest that something like that takes place because it's scary. That hole is, it's just a matter of time before it
Okay,
sinks in.
we'll send a citation to the homeowner and have them repair it.
Thank you.
Madam Chair Lady,
Yes, Councilman.
go back to the regular order of business.
Motion by Councilman Markovich, second by Councilman Warple to return to the regular order of business. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any other new and unfinished
Madam
business?
Chairman.
Oh, hold on. We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Torres. I believe that was to have a letter sent to engineering regarding the curbs on the 200 block of Kenwood. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any other new and unfinished business?
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Councilman Torres.
like another letter sent to the engineer, there's water that also pools at the intersection of Truman and Kent. That's right at the intersection where Columbia Elementary students have to cross, and the pool gets so large that they have to go around it anyway, creates an unsafe condition. If they can look at it and see if it's drained or whatever can be done to correct that. Been approached by the principal,
Okay,
School City.
thank you. Motion by Councilman Torres. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Spitali to send a letter to the engineering department regarding Truman and Kent, where the water pools up near Columbia School. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Yes, Councilman.
That'll be the north side of 1200 block.
Okay.
The intersection of Truman and Kent.
Okay, on the north side. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any other new and unfinished business? Any other new and unfinished business? Any other new and unfinished business? New and unfinished business is now closed. Moving on to public expression. The first speaker of the evening is Ernie Dillon. If you would state your name and address for the record, please, and you will have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, Madam President, I should say, members of the council and mayor. Ernie Ernest Dillon, 5963 Park Place, Hammond, Indiana. Recent committeeman there 50 years, which is not my issue today. But having said that, I am a homeowner. I am involved in the community. And I stand before you tonight with a request that I don't often take pride in doing, and that's I'd like to request Councilman, or Mr. Higgs, to resign his position as 3rd District Councilman as soon as possible so he can be replaced before the November election, because we're going to be real busy then. This way we don't have to wait till May of next year to replace him. And I'll just cut to the chase and give you a couple of particulars about why. First of all, I think on behalf of all of us in the 3rd District, City of Hammond and Lake County in particular, we're tired of front newspaper with Mr. Higgs's name on it, that is always doing something in the community to make the community look bad. And I will point one more thing out. On Election Day, we have what you know as pluggers that are passed out in the precincts. And everyone does them. You pass out your favorite candidates and this and that. I'm not going to, for courtesy's sakes of the pluggers that were passed out, I'm not going to mention their pluggers. However, with each plugger, set of pluggers that people were passing out in various precincts in the 3rd District were Mr. Higgs's business card. Now, number one, it confused the voter because they came out and they said, Mr. Dillon, Mr. Higgs had his business card with the pluggers and his name wasn't on the machine. I wanted to vote against him. So, and we found him in the garbage can, his cards. I said, well, I don't think Mr. Higgs is running right now. I don't know if he's ever going to run again. But anyway, who pays for the city business cards? Do I, the taxpayer? We, the taxpayers? Or does Mr. Higgs pay for them out of his campaign fund, contribution, or on his own? Could I request an invoice be pulled to see if business cards were recently purchased by the city for Mr. Higgs to send out on Election Day as pluggers? Because other people in other precincts also had workers out in front, Mr. Higgs workers with stacks of cards 2 inches high, I don't exaggerate. So I guess that would be my question and the reason I stand before you tonight. So maybe he could resign now. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Carlotta Blake King.
Good evening, Council. Carlotta Blake King, 1004 Highland Street. I come before you with a concern of not only myself, but all of the residents along the 8, 9, 10, 1100 block of Highland Street and Lyon Streets. We've been made aware that the Maywood Pool will probably be demolished around August. And it's been brought to many of our attention that when the pools were demolished in other communities, they were overran, inundated, whatever word you want to use, with mice. And from what they're shared with us, we didn't ask for this. It was volunteered information, just off the cuff. And they indicated that they called the city for some type of assistance, and they were just basically told that they would have to abate the situation themselves. So you will probably have other folks coming before you in the next 2 council meetings before August, asking this council as a whole to send a letter to the Parks Department requesting that Maywood Pool Park be abated before it's demolished, because we certainly do not want to be ran over with mice. Many of us are seniors, many in wheelchairs, many on fixed incomes, and certainly don't have money to have their homes abated for something that could have been averted had the city at least taken the chance to abate it. I did talk to the executive director, Parks and Recreation, I believe his name is Mark, somebody, and we had a good discussion regarding it, and I shared with him that when I was a former redevelopment commissioner, we did set aside monies for when anytime there was a major demolition within the city that affected a neighboring community, that those properties were abated for mice and any other kind of rodents. So he indicated that he would look and talk to his board about doing such. So I'm just asking this council, since the closing of the pool started here, that perhaps you could send a letter to the Park Department on behalf of yourselves and the residents that live along Highland and Lyon Street to assist us in abating this situation before it becomes a problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Final speaker of the evening is George Stoya.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
for the record, I'm not sure where Ms. King is coming from with regard to Edison Pool. I mean, I could tell you that every time there's a problem in the city, I get a phone call, hundreds of phone calls I haven't got a single, like, I saw flyers that she was passing around the community that said that rats were getting into people's homes in Edison Park when we demolished the pool. Councilman Emerson, could you help me on this? I didn't get one single complaint or instance of that.
I have not gotten one call about a mouse or a rat.
I totally agree. And quite frankly, if something we did, first off, I don't really think inside of an abandoned pool there's a whole bunch of rats, as indicated on the flyers, or mice. Maybe there are, I don't know. I'd probably hang out someplace else if I was a rat or a mouse. And then when we demolish it, it's going to be replaced with something beautiful. I think, quite frankly, this whole thing's made up. I haven't heard a single thing about it. God bless Ms. King. She has every right to say what she wants. But if I heard anything we did caused rats to go into people's homes, I would be seriously upset with the contractor that was doing the work. I don't know where this is coming from, but stuff happens. People put flyers out with stuff on it all the time. But I have a feeling if there was rats around Edison Park caused by us, we would have heard about it. That's all I want to say. So I feel like I have to respond to issues that are outlandish, quite frankly, and that's what I'm doing right now. So,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Final speaker, George Stoya.
George Stoya, Robertsdale. I was particularly alarmed by this boot thing. Wow, that's wild. That's a property owner acting as judge and jury. I mean, as a property owner, you have a right to exclusive enjoyment and use of your property. I don't know if that extends to, and you can tell somebody you can get them off your property, but I don't know about keeping them on your property with a boot. Has anyone sought a legal redress on that, like for a conversion, maybe extortion, all rolled into one? You ought to put it at the bottom of the ordinance, put an asterisk and say, hey, now that is wild. I don't know I mean, that incident, if it's, is that true about the $700? Yeah. That's outright. That's extortion. I think there's a little criminal action there, but I speculate. Alleged criminal. Okay, anyway, that's wild. With respect to the closing of the court, and again, this is pure speculation, I've often wondered, back in the day when we had the controversy was in White Heat with respect to Judge Jorgensen, I believe it, and the closing of the court, and I guess the devolving of the responsibilities, is Hammond in any jeopardy or risk of having, I mean, is the burden of our court substantial enough that somebody from the state or county could come back at us and say, hey, you guys are the largest city in the county, and all that stuff that you guys are doing now, we got to do, and therefore we want a piece of your levy? Is that at all possible? I mean, I'm just speculating. Is that something anybody's heard of? Is that something, or is that just crazy Stoya thinking because he's got too much time on his hand? Anyway, I just wondered about it.
Thank you. Public expression is now closed. Motion to adjourn?
Make a motion that we adjourn from this meeting.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Rakos to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Everyone have a good evening.